everybody, it's the Yeti. How are you doing? Been a really busy week. This is Yakking with the Yeti. I am the Yeti. As you can see, the Yeti fur has returned. I think I'm going to go all Duck Dynasty this time. Just really let it go. Of course, everybody knows that I always wanted to do a show with myself, Scott Grunwald, and Johnny Hauser because we could do our own Ghost Dynasty. Be ghosty. But tonight, nobody came to hear me. Well, I do need to say this really quick. Everybody here at PEN, we sent out our heartfelt and our feelings to one of our newer hosts, D-Dove. She did lose her grandson earlier this week. Please go by her Facebook page. Wish her your condolences. It's a tragic situation. Everybody in Oklahoma, I feel sorry for Westboro Baptist Church when they show up at this one because these people just won't care. That's all I'm going to say about that. But tonight, on a much happier, brighter note, we are talking with a very dear friend. I'm the old one in the situation, but he's a very dear old friend of ours. Been around with us for since the beginning. But tonight we're joined by Bill Connelly, also known as Paranorbill. And Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Man, if I was a puppy, I'd need two tails. How have you been? I know I've been busy. You've been real damn busy.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy. Not so much right now. It's kind of my off season, I guess. But yeah, no, I've been, doing lots.
Is there anything you can tell us about what you're doing, or is
No.
it hush hush nod nod?
No, I can tell you. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Well, we are finally wrapping up. We filmed the movie last year called The Hinsdale Event, which takes place over 1 week in Hinsdale, New York, and throughout the sort of Buffalo area. And then we also did a place there called, I think it's in Pennsylvania. It's called the Andover Asylum. Yeah, so I'm getting ready to throw that together. Hopefully. Well, everything will be. I'm hoping for the summer, but if it doesn't work for the summer, then I hope to have the movie out by the fall at the latest. But it's a lot of work. There's a lot of evidence still being reviewed and coming in, and still more stuff that we're throwing in the documentary. So, yeah. So I did the Hinsdale event, and so I'm working on that. We're working on a new project right now in cooperation with the Andover Asylum, which is basically it's an investigation that takes place in between Andover Asylum and the Hinsdale House in New York, that we're getting ready for. And then we also have in August we have Hinstock, which is like our paranormal Woodstock. That'll be taking place at the Hinsdale House as well. And yeah, and then in Canada, I just finished shooting a new TV series called The Other Side. Yeah, and that'll be out. I think the first episode will air on television Halloween Day.
Nice, and
Yeah.
and yet strangely appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I know that the show is going to do really well, and I think October is Halloween is going to be a great night to have it. I should be filming season 2 right now, but there's a little bit of a hiccup, so we're not filming season 2 quite yet, but hopefully very soon. And then I'm off to New York.
Have you and that's awesome because I got to give you kudos, man, because I have been not only a fan of your work when we were on another network that shall remain unnamed, but I mean the stuff.
Are they even still around?
No, actually, no, they're not. I think the Resmans are still around.
I like the Resmans.
Yeah, well,
I like
I'm going to say the Resmans are still around.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, though, you've always taken this to the next level, and I wanted to talk about that for a minute because you've always tried to do the professional thing when that wasn't always the most popular thing to do around the quote unquote paranormal.
Well, yeah, I mean, I I try to do, I was raised in a very traditional family with very strong morals, and trust and honor are really our two biggest things. So, I've always kept my word, or tried to as best as possible, and I've always, even though, what do they say? The what's that quote that I'm trying to use? The put it like this: a lot of times I do not take the path of least resistance.
Right.
So if something's there and I have a great opportunity to do something with somebody, but I'll take a friendship or a good feeling that I've got over any kind of financial thing, or to me it's more based on a handshake versus anything else. I'm old school that way. So I've been with you guys. I was with the other network. I left the network. They asked me to stay. They offered some things, and it wasn't for me. So I sort of, stuck it out and did my own thing, and worked with you, and you guys will have contact this summer airing. You'll have 13 episodes to go. So, yeah.
And we've always been so appreciative of everything you've done, Bill. You know that. It's because we're the exact same way here. I get that question a lot because Kim and I do run this network. So I'll have new hosts that'll contact me, and they want to move their show here. And unfortunately, one of the first things that I get asked is, well, don't you have some contracts or something? I said, no, I don't. Because if I have to go that far with you, to a certain extent, at least at this level, if I have to go that far with you, I don't have time for you. If I don't trust you that much already, that I already need that kind of protection, I don't want to do business with you. Now,
Right.
At some point in time, when you start having money go back and forth across the table, yes, you need contracts. That's common sense.
Yeah.
But to do podcasting like what I'm doing right now, for me to give a non-disclosure, give me a break. Non-compete, really try to make that stick. I'd love to see it. Anyway, I'm just saying, people that have what I've noticed is the integrity is like cream. It really is, because it will actually. Everything else kind of goes away from it, but everything that's got a lot of integrity sticks together. May go to the bottom for a little while, but it's the best stuff out there,
Yeah. And it always rises to the top.
Always. Well, you ought to see some of the cows around 3 Mile Island, but anyway.
Yeah.
Now, one thing too, I didn't know whether you wanted to talk about this or not. You've done almost every kind of investigating there is too, haven't you?
I think so. I try to my methodology and what I do. I really think outside of the box. I really don't watch a lot of paranormal TV shows, because it's like you're a construction worker, you're a framer, and then you go home and you watch framing videos. Like, who the hell wants to do that, right? So I have my own way of doing things, and I really try to think outside of the box. And I think that's what's helped me throughout my career as a researcher, because I've come up with some amazing evidence. I'm not saying that my evidence is better than anybody else's, but I capture it in different ways. And I can't talk about the stuff that I've captured on the TV series, obviously, but I can guarantee you it's probably the best evidence that anyone has ever seen. And we had an hour-long conversation with the spirit. Not only just that one time, but I mean, it was on several occasions. But he granted us 1 hour of truth. So whatever I was communicating with, whether it was the person that he said he was, which we actually got a name, date of birth, date of death, where he was born, where he lived,
right?
All that sort of stuff, and we actually confirmed it by looking it up, and there was no way that anyone could have faked it. So, it's one of those things where, with me, anyways, I try to gather as much physical evidence as possible. I still use really old school techniques. but I use technology to confirm what I know or what I feel. I'm not a psychic, but I do have abilities like everyone else has, and some of my abilities are tweaked. So I can. It sort of gives me an advantage a lot of times when I'm in situations when I'm dealing with entities, spirits, whatever you want to call them. I have this certain way that I can connect with them quickly and kind of hold that connection. So it works pretty good.
Yeah, well, and you've learned to trust that intuition.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I can tell when someone's bullshitting me. If I'm using a spirit box, or whether I am in a situation and I'm using a meter or something like that. I can tell right away whether they're bullshitting. I get a really good. It's like a good cop almost. They have a very good intuition, very intuitive, and I can tell that when I'm communicating with someone on the other side. So I think that helps me out as well.
Has being and I want to ask this specifically because you're native born Canadian, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Being that close to as many people as that are of Aboriginal descent or the natives in and around the different provinces, did that growing up in that type of atmosphere, was it a more spiritual atmosphere? I mean, perfect example. I grew up in a concrete jungle. I grew up in Dallas, Texas. So while I may have had more boots than anybody else, that doesn't mean I knew how to ride a horse or drill an oil well.
Right.
But I was just very curious because it would seem like you would have more, if you had more native friends, you would be more exposed to their spirituality, blah, 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 blah. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, to be honest, when I was younger growing up, I was always very interested in cultures and religions, things of that nature. But I did not do a lot of Aboriginal studies when I was younger. My mother, on the other hand, took Aboriginal studies, and she's the one who actually started to educate me on it. And we actually, my mother adopted, my stepbrother, I guess, who is half Aboriginal, and he. See, this is one of the I think the main issues with Canada and the U.S. The way we've treated our Aboriginal people, our Native American, Native Canadian, whatever you want to call them, the way that we've treated them over the years, by taking them out, they are nomadic people, by taking them out of that the way that they live and putting them into schools and not teaching them their culture, not allowing them to speak their native language, and basically robbing them of their identity. Really, this generation now is just the new generation. I'm finding the younger ones are more educated than ones, let's say, that are my age, because they don't know their history, they don't know their culture because it's been robbed from them. So, working on the TV series that I was working on, we look at it from an Aboriginal point of view, and that's the reason why I took this show over, some of the other ones that I was offered. I had Biography Channel offer me. We shot a pilot called Highways from Hell, and it was a good concept, but there was just no substance to it. It was just another stupid ghost hunting show out there, and really, there was nothing interesting about the show to me. And when I was offered this show, I got a call from Jennifer Podemsky, who's the creator of it. She's a very well-known actress throughout Canada and the U.S. And she called me up. She's like, "Hey, Bill, I know her husband because I was in the music business for a long time, and he and I worked together when he lived in Edmonton. And so he knew what I did, and so she calls me up. She's like, "Bill, I've got this idea. I'm kind of doing this." And I was like, "Yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, I'm on board, because there's substance to it. It's just not guys with cameras going out with green screens and bullshit and whatever. There's you're not only watching something, but you're learning at the same time. And I think that's very important because we bring that, not only just the Aboriginal culture into it, but we bring in a different perspective, I think, on how you look at everything. The show is not an Aboriginal show. I guess it may be considered that, but when you look at it, it's not like, I don't want to sound racist because obviously I'm not, but it's not a bunch of, Indians running around with, feathers out of their hair and whatever. It's much deeper and it delves into the spirituality of, the Aboriginal people. And so when we approach the cases that we're going to, a lot of the private cases that are on the show are Aboriginal people, and so we approach it from that point of view, and it seems to work, very well. And other times, on set they'd laugh at me, because I'd pull out my holy water, or I'd pull out this, or whatever, and they'd kind of laugh at me like ha ha ha, but it's just sort of our cultures melding, I guess, and
right.
Trying to understand each other. So, but I think when it airs, people will sort of understand what I'm talking about.
Well, one thing too, Bill, is a lot of people in the paranormal are kind of starting to finally get this kind of through their battery-powered heads.
Yeah.
The spiritual beliefs of Native peoples have been around a lot longer than anything that has been done in a quote-unquote paranormal.
Absolutely.
So to disregard, 3 or 4 or 5,000 years worth of practices and beliefs, it's just silly. Because if they didn't have, like you mentioned, if they didn't have substance, if there wasn't something to what they were doing, they would have stopped happening thousands of years ago.
Right.
But people are coming. People around.
Have been on in North America for, let's say, 20,000 years, and you've got smudging, with Aboriginal people smudge, but you also have South American people that smudge. And this is a very, very old tradition that works. But you get it all the way from the tip of Tuktoyaktuk or whatever, all the way down into South America, and it's something. It's just one of those.
It's a continental. It's a truly continental thing because it's almost restricted here to North America, in origin anyway.
Yeah, you do find a lot. I was in Japan a few years ago, and my Japanese friend, before I had actually gone to Japan, he was in Canada, and he wanted to know how far it was to go from Edmonton, the city that I live, to where the Eskimos live. And I said, dude, you have to fly there. Like, Canada's a huge country. It's not like, people have this misconception of Canada and like small towns and horses and igloos and sled dogs and whatever. And it's not like that. You look out my window right now, we're sitting in the middle of a huge city with millions of people. It's not like that. So anyways, what I was getting to was he wanted to see his ancestors, because when they came over the Bering Strait, the Japanese, the Asian, when they came over the Bering Strait, they settled there. So the Inuit people, as we call them, are of Japanese descent. So when you come down, as it sort of trickles down, you've got the Aboriginal people that are still related, still have the Asiatic, I guess, gene in them. Mm-hmm. So it all sort of trickles down. So you've got Asians that burn incense that still do some type of smudge, and then you've got the North American type smudge as well.
Yeah, that's, like I said, there's finally starting to be some credence given to it, and it's good to see. And it's basically, as much as I hate to say this, it's our generation. We're the buffer generation. The next generation of paranormal investigators and researchers that comes out, they're going to have such a tome of information. We're going to save them so much time.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the research that is going on now, we really are on sort of the cutting edge of technology and spirituality and things like that. And I think a whole lot of shit is going to hit the fan very shortly as far as things with the church and that sort of thing goes.
Yep.
With just how things are perceived. You and I were on the phone last week, and we were talking about, we had a pretty long conversation about what happened with you when you were at, was it the Shanley or the Stanley?
It was at the Shanley Hotel in Napanoch, New York.
Right. And you and I were talking about a really cool investigation that you guys were doing and some really cutting-edge technology that you guys were working on. And it really, after we got off the phone, I really started to think about it. And maybe that's something that we'll bring up on the show tonight. But, it's... Well, I mean, maybe you want to talk about what we talked about on the phone.
Well, and actually was actually on this show a couple of weeks ago. I had on David Roundtree after our convention up there at the Shanley, and it was David's equipment that he's been basically building for the last 5 years. This is like the Mach 3 version,
right?
And he was so happy that night. It was incredible, but that's because 5 years of thesis and theory and very hard work and trying something and not working and trying something and not working. It's the trial and error to get to that point and to actually have it work and work to the degree that it did. And one of the things, and I'm not afraid to speak it on here, that one of the things that we found, David found that during a very active paranormal experience, there is gamma radiation release. That is the same stuff that they take x-rays with. And the levels that he recorded, he was expecting some levels, but the levels that were recorded were huge. And that speaks very dangerously to people that are involved in the paranormal that do this all the time, because radiation exposure is something that is a long-term injury. It's something that'll hurt you long-term. It won't love you long time. It hurts you long time. And people have to understand. People have to understand that it's not. This isn't some woo-woo, undocumentable. There's data behind everything I'm saying. So the people need to understand that doing paranormal research, this is not undangerous. And I'm not talking about any kind of religious danger that might be incurred. And the only reason I say religious is because when you start talking about possession, you have to have a certain set of religious beliefs before you believe that even happens. That's the only reason I mention that. But before you start even talking about possessions, attachments, oppressions, before you start even talking about any of that, just being in an active location can be physically dangerous.
Right.
And people need to know that, because it's not like on the TV show. You don't hear the triumphant trio or the valiant plumbers talking about any of this. Right. That's because they all stopped doing true science and true research years ago, and it's sad.
Yeah.
It really truly is. They can reach so many people in such a positive way, but instead they've sold out.
Well, and that's another thing. The masses don't want to hear this type of thing. I get into debates with people. Let's say it would be like a religious debate or something, and people just don't want to hear it because they're so set in their ways that they're either scared to hear, another opinion or another viewpoint on it, or they're just ignorant and, they're just so set in their ways that they just, no, I've tried to, talk to people, and it's all, maybe I sound like a born-again Christian, like I had one of my really good friends, he became a born-again Christian, and, he was just praise Jesus, and and don't get me wrong, I have utmost respect for for people that are religious and that sort of thing. I just want to get that out of the air real quick. But as let's say a born again Christian, he's all and he's screaming and yelling and he's going to the top of the mountain and he's doing this kind of stuff. Well, then you get the other side of the spectrum, which would be like us, where we capture evidence, we do all this stuff, we're set in our beliefs. And so we try to, go to the top of the mountain and scream, but a lot of people, they don't want to hear it. And I think really what it is they're scared to think that there's something else other than what they believe. You've got these. Or I'm sorry to interrupt, but Bill, they have
they have to have a name for it. That's the other thing that I've noticed. People have to have a name for it. Whether it's Muhammad or Jesus Christ or God or Buddha,
Yep.
people have to have some. They can't have an unnamed force that rules. They have to know.
Yeah. Well, and you know what gets me too is that they're like, yeah, you know, I don't believe in this, but I'm spiritual. Well, what exactly is spiritual? Like what, you know, when I see someone, they say, you know, you go to Facebook and it says religion, it says Catholic or this, and then you got spiritual. Well, what the fuck is spiritual? Pardon my French. Like, how are you spiritual? In what way are you spiritual? And people don't even know it. It's almost like spiritual. They put spiritual down. It's like kind of a cop out because you know they really don't have a firm structure or a firm belief system in place. So they put spiritual down. And for myself, I don't follow any organized religion. I'm not a fan of any sort of organized religion. I mean, you go back and well, let's take the Catholic Church. I grew up Catholic. Look at the Catholic, and I'm not bashing Catholics, but I'm going into documented history. You look at the Catholic Church and what they've done and how many people they've killed, and you talk about Muslims killing people and doing all this stuff. It doesn't even compare to the amount that Christians have killed over the years through the Crusades, in conquering new countries. In you know, why do you think most Mexicans are Catholics? It's not because they were, you know, just Jesus Christ came to them one day and said, "Hey, turn Catholic." It's because of the Crusades, and it's the same way. And I don't even know where the hell I was going with it. You can get me started on religion, I'll just go on for hours and hours and talk your ear off.
The whole point is though, Bill, and like a lot of people don't understand or know this. Most true devout Muslims, they hate the extremists. They feel the same way about the extremists that we do about Westboro Baptist Church.
Yep.
You know, they're thought of that lowly and they're hated that much, but you can't stop them because you can't stop people from making stupid choices.
No, you can't.
You know,
it's you're going to get fanatics in anything. I've seen the
Exactly.
Christian fanatics, the Muslim fanatics, you know, from one spectrum to the other, and then you've got the paranormal fanatics.
Yes,
you know, people that are, you know, with the paranormal though, the difference is that we're not blindly believing in something. I don't blindly believe that there's life after death, physical death. I don't blindly believe that. I thought as a young boy, what happens to us when we die? What the hell happens to us when we die? Do we go to heaven, like the Bible says? Do we go to hell? Is there an in-between? Why am I seeing dead people walking around? You know, what's the banging and the noises and the footsteps behind me and all these weird things? It can't be so cut and dry. There's such a gray area in between. And, you know, it's unfortunate, in my opinion, that people they'll just blindly believe. They'll just, you know, find something and they'll go with it. And to me, it's unfortunate that the world works that way.
It is true.
In any religion or anything.
But I mean, it's such a way, like you mentioned, Bill. It's such a waste of time. How much more could we as a race have accomplished? And I'm not talking about any specific color. I'm talking about the whole shooting match. If we hadn't wasted so much time arguing specifically about vocabulary, we can't even agree on what to call stuff. But beyond that, I have a very good question. How did you get involved with Hinsdale? We've never talked about that on the air. How did you get involved with that location? And if you would, please let my viewers know a little bit about Hinsdale and what it was, because it's kind of almost unknown to a certain degree.
Yeah. Well, I was planning to do another season 2 of Contact, and I have a lot of really close friends that I've made over the years from shooting Contact in the Buffalo area. Mark Hudson, Corinne, his wife, the family, everybody down there. I mean, I've made a lot of great friends. Anyways, I was planning on shooting season 2, and one of the guys on the Contact team that's no longer with us on the team called me up, and he says, "Bill, I got this great location, this great old house in Hinsdale, New York, and they just call it the Hinsdale House. It's really haunted. It's been around since 1871. There's been a lot of claims. There was an exorcism in the house. There's, you know, it goes back the Seneca Indians slaughtered. There's a burial site 200 meters from the house. All this really cool stuff, and he's like,
Brown is online.
the hell's that? Anyway, so he says, why don't we, maybe do an investigation there? And I'm like, well, better yet, why don't we, rather than shoot season 2 while I'm there, why don't we make a documentary movie on this house? And so we were all set to go, and then about a month before we're ready to go down to New York, I get a call, and they're going to demolish the house because the taxes were due or something to that effect, and it was cheaper to have the house leveled and then just rebuild a new house on top of the old house, and then they would sell it for whatever. Now, they were trying to sell this house for, I think it was about $400,000. Now, $400,000 in that area, and don't get me wrong, it's a beautiful area. It sits on almost 9 acres. It's got a beautiful pond. You go to hinsdalehaunt.com, and you can see how beautiful the house is, and the land and everything else. The house, not so beautiful. I mean, it's 1871. I mean, what do you expect? But we've done so much to repair the house. Mark, who's in the chat room right now, has done so much work. Ton and all the guys there, and Corinne and everybody there has done so much work to restore this old house. Anyways, I've got bad ADD, so I'm losing my train of thought. So anyways, they said we're going to level the house. So I'm like, shit, what am I going to do now? I've got my plane tickets booked. I got people flying in that we were going to interview that were there, right. The Dandy family that lived there in the 70s when the possession thing took place. We had them planned to come down, and now all my plans are screwed up. And so I called the owner of the house, the people that had the land lease on, or have owned it forever, and I said, listen, I'm not going to give you $400,000 for this house. They wanted all this money for the house because it was so in the area. It's recognized as probably one of the most haunted house there, and I called him up and I said, listen, I'll give you what property is worth, and that's all. And that's what I did, because the house had so much history, and it wasn't about the documentary at that point, because I didn't have the money to spend on this house. I had to borrow the money from my dad. And so I bought this house in New York, and everyone was like, even Adam was like, Bill, man, this is a bad idea, a bad investment. What are you doing? You're spending all this money on this house and this thing, and the house is ready to fall over, but there was just something about it that it was almost like a duty that I had to do it. And so I got off the phone with him, and that night I was working on some kind of a trailer, or I was working on some sort of video, and I was pulling an all-nighter, and I was sitting downstairs in my old house in front of this computer, and I get this really cold hands on my shoulder, and it was really cold, and it went down my arms, and then it just wrapped around me. It kind of gave me a hug, and I was like, I guess I did the right thing. So something from the house, whatever it is, gave me a hug, and it was almost like a thank you. You could feel the emotion, like I could feel the emotion, the hug and whatever it was, and that was it. And so I bought the house, and I flew to New York, and I met everybody there, and we spent a week in this house that had barely enough electricity. It had some old electricity. There was no heaters in the house, so we had the sort of floorboard heaters. There was Chris, Adam, and myself sleeping in the living room. We started off when we were in the living room. The living room was pretty big, actually, and we had I was on sort of like Jeff and Melinda that help us out as well there. They stay at the house. They're sort of the caretakers of the house, and they run some events and things like that for us. But anyways, they were staying at the house, and they had left their air mattress. So I'm sleeping on an air mattress. One of them's on the couch. The other one's on the other couch, and I'm on the floor. And we had this barrier put up, like the plastic insulation that you put between,
Right.
what do you call it? You know, in between the walls, that plastic
Right.
stuff. So we had this shit, you know, stapled to
Yeah.
the wall or to the doorways and the windows and everything else. Wasn't to keep us warm. It was to keep the shit that was in the house out, because we had so much stuff going on. Now keep this in mind. I had bought this house without even looking at it, without even experiencing anything. And when I drove there and I got there the first time, I didn't experience anything right away. And I went, I stopped there, and then I drove to see my girlfriend Rita in Easton, PA, and so I had just briefly stopped at the house, went down there, spent the day with her, and then came back up to start doing the filming. Anyways, over the course of the week, these 3 beds that we had set up got closer and closer and closer together to literally near the end of the shoot. We were like glued together, and we were so scared because you would hear it walking, and then you'd hear it come down the stairs, and then you'd hear pots and pans and like cooking, but we had no pots and pans in the house. There was nobody upstairs walking down. So it was like somebody was cooking breakfast and stuff's going on, and you'd see like hands on the plastic, and they'd kind of go down, and we were just shitting bricks. And then I'd wake up, my mattress would get kicked like boom, 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 boom. And I would just yell, Adam! And he'd wake up, and we'd all be freaking out. And in between, you know, doing our documentary there, we were also shooting at different locations. So we were doing the Hinsdale event movie, but at the same time, included in the movie, we were like, okay, well, we're going to do, you know, Andover Asylum and a few other places that we did to incorporate that into the Hinsdale event, because the Hinsdale event is not just a documentary about the house itself. It's a documentary about the house, but also about these 3 guys that, you know, go down to this house and spend time there. And we literally, we had so much activity going on in that house that we thought that, you know, we're doing these other investigations, and we're not going to get shit compared to, you know, what we're getting at the house. We weren't even looking forward to going to these other places, just for the simple fact that we didn't think we were going to get anything, or be impressed by anything. Not get anything, but we just didn't figure we'd be impressed. And lo and behold, you know, once again, you know, like Andover Asylum, just off the hook, just a crazy place, and we've got captured amazing evidence there as well. So yeah, in a nutshell, that's sort of how I came about getting the house and staying there, and then, you know, going and doing investigations to put the movie together.
Yeah, and like I said, I when I found out who owned it, I freaked out, because man, that like you said, you knew you had done the right thing, but you know that just shows the kind of person you truly are. Though. You know what I mean?
Oh, thank you.
You know, I mean, seriously.
I tell you that it definitely was not a money-making thing for me.
Oh, no.
What I always wanted to have a paranormal research facility that people could go to and investigate that wasn't, no offense to, you know, any, you know, like the Shanley, where it's a business, it's up and running, and they rent rooms, and, you know, that's really their thing. But you can't book the whole place. I mean, you probably could, but it would cost you a fortune. With this place, there's so much activity going on that we have the room set up where you can set up all your gear. You not only investigate the house, but you can investigate the land that it's on, because the whole land is very active as well. There's been documentary films done on it. I think BioChannel did one on it. Discovery. There's been a number of different programs out there that have done documentaries on the house. But I wanted to have a research facility that people could go to, not spend an arm and a leg, and, you know, go there and experience true paranormal stuff, and, you know, have something happen while they're there. Stay in the house, you know, have a tour, learn about the history of the house, and it's not only just the paranormal stuff that you're going to learn about, but you're going to learn about a lot of really interesting facts about the area, and the history, and it goes way back. And so So really, I'm kind of one of those guys now where I sort of, my dream has come true. I've got this house, and I've got my paranormal research facility, and I've got really good friends that take care of the place for me. And we run events, and people, the house is booked pretty much nonstop now. I mean, we've got people going in there, and I don't take paychecks from the house because, I mean, really, we had an event, Parafest, that was a huge success, and we were wanting to, we're always trying to fix the house, whether it's the roof, windows, the driveway, whatever. And we made enough off that event that we actually got a roof, and it was amazing. Now, from the support of all the people in the area, we had people drive in when we did the last one with Christopher St. Booth and Keith Age and all those guys, Nene Grace. We had more people turn out for this Parafest event than we did for that, and we were hoping with the last, the one with Chris Booth, that we were going to hopefully make enough money to replace something, and we really literally just broke even. And with this event, those guys did such a top-notch job, and it rained a little bit, and it was a it was a day event and a night event, so you could buy tickets for the day or the night or both. And we made enough money to replace part of the roof. So, that's amazing. Now we're starting to put the house back together again.
But you're also helping that community too, the community that the house was in. I mean, haven't you told me before that some of the neighbors were so glad that somebody was finally going to do something with that damn eyesore?
Yeah, I mean, there's always been people living in the house. The last people that lived in the house were an elderly couple. They passed away, and then the house went back to the woman that's owned it forever, or that family that's owned it. And the community it's sort of a 50-50 thing, because some of the neighbors don't like the fact that there's always cars driving up there, even before I bought it, because people knew about it and they would come just to see the Hinsdale house. They'd drive up. Even when it was abandoned after the couple had moved out and passed away, there was so much, so many people going into the house, taking things, kicking in doors, smashing windows, doing all that stuff. So some of the neighbors didn't like the fact that this house was there and it was so well known for being haunted. And then some of the neighbors, now most of the neighbors, we sort of extended an olive branch to these people and just said, listen, this is what we're doing. We're not going to cause problems with you, or have any, sort of weird stuff going on. And so I say 99% of the neighbors are happy about what's happening there. Some of them don't give two shits. But, the ones that we've spoken to anyways, they're always more than welcome to come to the house and to come to the events. And we don't charge the neighbors anything. Right. They're more than welcome. All of the neighbors come at no charge to any events that we've got, just so that we can keep a good open line to good lines of communication with the neighbors, right, and with the community. And the community really has really pulled together with the restoration of the house as well. It's just been an amazing roller coaster ride for me.
Yeah, well, and it just goes to show that we can get along, damn it.
Yeah,
absolutely. As much stuff as we see that's so negative, it's good. It's good that every now and again, like you said, somebody gets up on the mountaintop and screams, "Hey, we're doing this," and that's and sometimes that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I know you sent me a little. It's about a little 18-minute film, but let's show these people what you do, man.
Sure. What you're going to see is some never seen before. Most of the footage has never been seen before. Some of it's unedited. Most of it's coming from the Hinsdale event. Some of the video is from Contact, using the spirit box, things like that. And then some of it is from the Hinsdale event movie, when we're at the Andover Asylum, and then there's another clip there with me using the spirit box and how well in tune with the spirit box I am. So yeah, let's have a look at the clip, and
we'll see. We'll let the people make their own mind, because I know they're going to love it. Anyway, here you go, folks. Enjoy.
Can you knock? Make a noise? There, I got it. Thank you. Can you knock? Adam, you just touch my back?
Yeah, that's me.
What was that shadow that just popped up? Holy shit.
Go in there.
Did you guys see that? Real cool.
There it is.
There it is.
It's up there. It's up there.
Let me know when you're going.
Where's it?
Here. At around 11 o'clock, we noticed on the DVR something kind of odd. We can't really explain it. Right now, Bill Connelly is going up there to place a toy. It looks like something's walking in and out of the curtain here. Here we go. Let's take a look. Looks like something's walking in and out of this curtain. I can't explain it. There's no windows up there, and you can see Bill Connelly's getting ready to enter the room. There's Adam. They're placing the new REM pod on the table and a static pod right there. My leg was on fire. Can you smell it? I have no feelings in my legs. Like none. From like being an idiot all my life. Alright guys, if you guys could pay attention, this thing right here looks like a human that's just pacing back and forth. There's nothing in there to create any type of matrix effect or anything. We really truly can't explain this. I've never seen anything like it in the 11 years I've been doing this. I mean, you can just clearly see it pacing back and forth in that closet. And every now and then it will come out of the door here and walk across. You see these? This time it's not me.
It's like it's almost afraid to go over there towards that thing.
He'll get used to it, hopefully. See, it's pacing. It's actually pacing. It looks like a person walking.
Yes, right there. Oh, there you go.
Wow. And you guys, he's walking, he's walking. Ah, they're holding up shy. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on.
Show it on the assignment here.
Come on, come on, come on. Here, go. Up. What's this?
No reason to be scared.
Moving back towards the closet.
They're just going back in the closet due to Adam's voice. Look.
They'll light up and they'll make music. And a bunch of pretty colors will light up.
Can't touch the closet. Wow.
Oh, it went really fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, way over there.
Is there anyone here that would like to communicate, would like to talk to us? I'm only looking for spirits in this building, associated with this area, or associated with anyone in this room. That's it. No one else is allowed to come through this box. So if you are here, can you start by giving us your name, please?
I just got this really weird chill up my spine.
Yeah,
Wow.
That's the first thing that will happen.
Holy!
And this goes through the radio, so it actually cuts out all the radio stations. So we're not going to get Bluetooth.
Okay.
If you are here, please make your presence known to us. Tell us your name, please. Nice and clear. Are you male or female? Say male or female. It's David.
Wow. I heard that.
David, are you here? David, you know someone in this room? Say that again. About no one, or it's the second time it came through?
Wow, that is strange.
Did you say no one? You know Derek? This guy beside me? What's your name again?
Zach.
Zach. Do you know Zach? Or me? David. It's hard to make it out sometimes. Sometimes we have to listen and review it. David, are you here?
Wow.
Something about it's Miles. Is your name Miles or David? Is there more than one of you here? Rob.
That's what I heard. I heard Rob.
Okay, I'd like to thank you for your time.
I just got another chill up my
Is
spine.
a yes?
Wow.
What do you want to say?
Wow.
Can you say goodbye to us? We're gonna hang up now. We thank you for joining us. You must return from where you came, and when you leave, right before you go, I want you to say goodbye. You are not allowed to follow us, touch us, or talk to us in any way, shape, or form. Do you understand? I need you to say goodbye now. I'm going to shut this device off. Say goodbye. Say bye, nice and clear. Say bye-bye.
I just had these strange chills up my spine. It's my back hairs are standing up. I just feel it. Paranormal Bill, thank you so much for coming down today. Appreciate that. That was quite an experience. Thank you so much for Joe TV.
Yeah, I gotta shut this down before you guys leave. Just say goodbye.
So everybody up here that wants to communicate with me, I want you to come forth through this box and say your name as clear as possible. Mike? Is your name Mike, yes or no? Mike, how many of you are up here? How many?
2. Lots.
That's a different guy. I'll take that one. 3. Okay. Hello, who are you?
Are you just Australian?
What's the back of my shirt say? What's her name? Christy. There's more. Okay, there's more. That's a lot better. What's your, were you a French soldier? Were you a French soldier? No, you're not a French soldier. Were you an American? American, I heard it, yep. Did you fight the battles here? Yes or no? Or did you fight here? Yes. There were battles. Who are you fighting? Thanks, bro. Who were you fighting? Soldiers. Over here. What's that? Yeah, it's a fag. I think his name is Chris. You heard? Yeah. Okay.
Who's the President of the United States?
Yes, it did.
Is the president black?
The president is black.
What is your name?
Sergeant. Were you a sergeant? Correct.
Sarge, will you speak for the rest of the people with you? Will you speak for the rest of the people? Sarge, are you trapped here?
Not trapped.
Sarge, are you trapped? Are you trapped? Chris
Whoa.
Connelly.
Do you want to speak with me? Dana wanted you to stay home.
Jesus.
Mary, it's me, Chris. I know I've used something similar to this before. I want to welcome you guys all up here and communicate with me through this box. I use the radio waves to communicate. If you're here, I need you to say, "Hi, Chris." Come on, Bill. Let me see your light flashlight.
And that recorder, remember, can't be on anything.
What the?
Yeah, I see
My radio just went off,
I
dude.
might have leaned on. But do you have static like that, though?
that. No, you didn't.
No. There's no way I could have leaned on it. It's in my...
No, you weren't moving.
All right.
Thank you.
Mary, if that was you, can you say yes? Yes.
Yeah, about it.
Okay, Mary.
Fuck is it?
Mary, are you happy to see me again? Yes?
Okay, that was a male voice.
Yes, it was. Who's the male guy? What's your name again? Pete. Pete, if that's you, can you give me another sign, please? Yes. Mary, if you can hear my voice, can you tell me how many of us there are? 4. You guys hear that?
Yep.
4. Mary, can you say hi, Bill? Did you hear deep in there?
Yeah. I heard hi.
No, it said Bill, too.
Yeah, it definitely said Bill.
If there's somebody here with us that doesn't want us being here, can you tell me your name?
Paperback. Pending.
Bill.
Bill, you understand that you cannot harm my team in any way, shape, or form, correct? Correct. You hear it deep down in there?
Let's double check that.
Bill, you understand that?
Yes, sir, Mike.
Yes.
Let's say yes, sir.
Yeah.
I heard yes, sir.
Do you know who I am? Yes. Can you say Bill? Bill. Can you say Christy? Christy. Can you say Adam? Adam. Can you say Chris? Can you say your name very clearly?
Pete?
Pete,
I
exactly.
heard it before.
Did I say dead?
Do you know who we are? You're dead.
Did you just flip me?
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Are you saying that we're dead?
I'm sorry.
That just say contact?
That just said contact. Can you read my shirt? Yes or no? You too. On the back of my shirt it says my name. Can you read my name? Say it again. Whoa.
What did that say?
Say Conlon.
Conlon. I heard it.
On the back of Christy's shirt with the blonde hair, can you tell me her name? What's her name? Weber.
Weber. I heard it.
Is Bill from Canada? Speeding it up.
Yes.
Can you tell me Bill's, Bill has a tattoo on his elbow. What is this tattoo of? A star. Did you hear that? Okay. Now I want you to tell me if you can see us. Yes or no? Duh. Is that a yes or a no? No. I want to know if you can see me right now.
Yeah.
Oh, he said Mary.
Yeah. Harry, I need you to do me a favor, okay? Yeah.
Yeah. That just say contact?
That just said contact.
And we're back. Man, that's good stuff, Bill.
Thanks, man.
Got a couple people in the chat room you probably want to get in contact with too, but we were talking about that off air. What is your and I'm digging the Darth Vader. Just so before anybody asks, I'm digging the Darth Vader.
Yeah, this is. I'm known for my sound effects as well.
That was good.
Yeah.
Have you what's the most and I'm going to ask this because I ask everybody, what's the biggest aha moment you've had doing this? What's the one thing that really sticks out in your mind as really motivating you in this?
Well, most recently, bar none, was an episode that we did at the Western Development Museum in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and we had this man follow us. Our very first investigation that we did as a team was at the Western Development Museum, and our very last one that we did as a team was at the Western Development Museum. And I think, and we had to go back for certain reasons that you'll see on the episode. But it was just amazing the intelligent contact that we had with this person.
Right.
And that's what I was telling you about before with the date of birth and where he lived and what it's like on the other side. And we validated things. And, you know, now picture this, we spent 3 to 5 days at a location for a 22-minute episode, 22.5-minute episode. So there's so much stuff that you're not going to be able to see. But we had just amazing communication with this guy. And I was asking him questions that we all want to know. Is there a heaven? Is there a hell? You know, what's it like when you die? He didn't remember dying himself. He remember the way I found out that his date of death was by asking him what was the last year that you remember. And if the viewers and your viewers were paying attention to one part when I was there was a radio show that I did locally here, and I was using the spirit box in the room, and there's 2 names that came up that were both names that were relevant to the Western Development Museum that were still coming through the box, and this was in between shoots. And you'll get a lot of times where you'll ask someone their name and they won't tell you their name. What I found is that the reason some of them won't tell you their name is because they don't remember their name. The longer they're in the spirit form. See, a lot of people have this misconception, and I don't even want to say it's a misconception because it's my opinion on, it's my sort of take on it.
Right.
So my take on it is this. The longer that we are out of our physical body, once we physically die, we don't die, obviously, and energy cannot be destroyed. So once we leave our physical body, our consciousness leaves our body, our soul, our spirit, whatever you want to call it. Once it leaves our body, it's got to go somewhere. So what I was asking him was, you know, like, we got into this really deep conversation. And we were able to, you know, get amazing responses. But he said, what he told me was, the longer you're not in the physical form, the longer you are not, let's say, physically alive, the harder it gets to remember your physical self. You'll almost, it's like you start to forget what it's like to be, you know, what it was like to be human. So he told me that he couldn't remember certain things about, he remembered his wife, she had passed away for whatever reason. He wouldn't cross. And through doing research, after we found out who this guy was, we did some research, and there's a few things that, you know, that could be responsible for him, you know, staying here. Now I'm going back to do an investigation, a public investigation, on August 11th. And I'm going back there with Jeff Richards, one of the other hosts on the show, and we are going to talk to him again. There's so many unanswered questions that I have, you know. It's like I put this really big thing on Facebook that night after we did the investigation there, because I couldn't sleep. I was sitting in my car in the hotel parking lot on my iPad, and I was just writing, and random things would come into my head. And I got this really strong connection with, I've drawn a blank here. The hell is the word I'm looking for?
The other side?
Like the Illuminati, but it's not. That's not the word I'm looking for. With the triangle. I'm feeling like an idiot right now. Oh, hey, Kelly. I can't remember the name of it, but anyways, there was a strong connection with that. I also felt a strong connection with KKK, and back when this guy was around, we did, through our research, did find that there were ties with the Ku Klux Klan, not necessarily with him, but in the small town that he was at the time. There was a KKK thing there. There was the Illuminati building there. What the hell is the name that I'm trying to think of?
Shriners.
Not Shriners.
No. They're builders. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you know what I'm
Masons.
talking about. Why can't I think of somebody in the flipping chat room? Help me out here. Throw me a frickin' bone.
The Freemasons.
Freemasons, right? So there was a Freemason connection, and yeah, so the Freemason connection, the KKK connection. So there's a bunch of reasons why he could be staying there. So I need to figure out why he's there. He doesn't want to go anywhere, but that's the thing, though. He doesn't like where he is, but he doesn't want to go. So it's almost like Catholic guilt. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're worried that if you go, that, you know. He told me there's no heaven and there's no hell. Now, with that being said, I don't believe in the the way the Christians believe in a heaven or a hell, and like I said, there's a big gray area in between. I don't think that if you're a good person, you're going to go to heaven, or if you're a bad person, you're going to go straight to hell. I don't think it works that way personally, and I don't. And by talking to this guy, I don't think it works that way either. But I don't. I can't say too much about what transpired there. But anyways, I'm going to be going back in August, and I'm going to be videotaping it. It's not going to be part of the TV series, so I will be able to share it with you guys. We'll be videotaping it and doing all the audio. We're going to have a. It's going to be a huge event. I think they're expecting about 400 people to go there for Jeff and I, for us to speak. And so we'll be doing a lecture, and he talks about what he does. Then I'll talk about what I do, and then we have sort of a lockdown, and that's sort of what we're going to do as far as that goes. And then I'll have a lot more questions answered, I hope.
Well, maybe by then PEN will have cashed in on our millions that we earn every week, and maybe we could fly up there and join them.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Well,
yeah,
you know how
my Hinsdale million and your PEN million will put together.
Yeah,
we'll have 2 million
something.
$2 million worth of play money.
Yeah,
and
right.
yeah, we'll go. We should just buy the Western Development Museum, and then with all of our take the Hinsdale house and actually put it inside the museum because it's big enough, and then we'd have like the best place in the entire world.
That's right.
I can't hear anything.
And then move, and then we'll move.
Hello?
Move it. You're there.
Oh, okay.
But then we can move it all to Napanock and be done with it.
What the hell is Napanock?
That's where the Shanley is.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Gotcha. But you got to come out to Hinsdale because I think, and I'm not knocking the Shanley because I've heard lots of great things about it. Believe me. But and I'm not trying to.
It's yours. It's okay. It's okay, Bill. It's yours. It's okay.
No, I'm not. It's not like I'm making lots of money off of it, but I think that I definitely want to get you guys really to come out to Hinstock. I think if you guys we did a live event at Hinstock, I think that would be phenomenal.
We can talk about that. We'll see. We'll see. When is it?
August something.
Well,
Rita has dates.
The only thing I know that we're committed to in August is Little Green Men Festival, but I don't know the exact date of that. So
okay. Well, we'll get something figured out. I mean, it's I have to get my ass in gear and get my plane ticket to go down there too. So it's for me to fly there. I think Rita was looking it up. It was like $1,500 return.
And just so people know, not all the planes up there have pontoons. Some of them are actually jets.
Yeah, we actually Canada just bought our first jet plane. We upgraded our military from pontoon planes to we have one jet plane now.
Nice.
And our rowboat has now been upgraded to a tugboat.
That's all, you know, and that's awesome to go from the road to the tug. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, that's people. You know, it's strange the misconceptions that people have. You know, people think Texas and they think there's oil wells and cows everywhere. Well, there's not. There's huge sections of this state that people don't live in because it's inhabitable for humans.
Right.
You know, but it's a beautiful state. And
well, Texas and Alberta are very similar.
Yeah, weather-wise too, because it gets hot up there too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah.
It doesn't last as long as it does down here, but you know, your winters are worse, so it all evens out, kind of, sort of.
Yeah, our winter this year was really bad, and it was really long. It was way too long.
Yeah, wasn't it like 9 or 10 months long from last year? I mean, it lasted several months longer than it was supposed to.
Yeah, I mean, we should be in summer by now, and we're still. I mean, I think 2 weeks ago we got leaves on the trees. Like, it's been that bad.
Wow.
Yeah. And today it's our first day of rain, so it'll green everything up because we've had lots of sunshine, but it's been pretty windy. But today, I mean, it's nice out today.
Well, Bill, I am getting into this because I do have to make it fit on YouTube. Thanks for coming on, man. We need to do this more often, you know.
Yeah, I'll just be like a once a week guy. I'll come on every week, and we'll just talk shit every week.
The Paranorbill Corner.
Yeah, exactly.
And maybe after October, you could invite the rest of the cast over, and we could do a whole group thing.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'm sure we'd all they'd be down with that, no problem. We're all in different cities, but yeah, thanks to modern technology, we can do it.
Yeah, I can get y'all on Skype. It ain't no big deal. So
perfect.
Once again, Bill, thanks for coming on. Where can people find you if they want to find you?
Paranorbill.com or contactparanormal.org or hinsdalehunt.com. And then you can check out all our cool videos at YouTube. Just type in Paranorbill, like paranormal, but Paranorbill. And you can see all the videos and stuff.
Yep. And good stuff too, people. I can't stress that enough. Once again, everybody, wish thoughts and prayers to everybody in Oklahoma. Thoughts and prayers go out to D-Dove. Get better soon, girl. Be sure and tune in tomorrow night on Pima TV. We'll be talking to Jodi Focht. So join us tomorrow night. And with that, we're out of here. Everybody, be safe.
I'm old school that way. So, you know, I've been with you guys. I was with the other network. I left the network. They asked me to stay. They offered some things, you know, and it wasn't for me. So I you know, sort of, you know, stuck it out and did my own thing and worked with you and you guys will have Contact this summer airing. You'll have 13 episodes to go. So, yeah.
And we've always been so appreciative of everything you've done, Bill. You know that. You know, it's because we're the exact same way here. You know, I get that question a lot because Kim and I do run this network. So I'll have new hosts that'll contact me and they want to move their show here. And unfortunately, one of the first things that I get asked is, well, don't you have some contracts or something? I said, no, I don't. Because if I have to go that far with you, to a certain extent, at least at this level, if I have to go that far with you, I don't have time for you. If I don't trust you that much already, that I already need that kind of protection, I don't want to do business with you. Now, at some point in time, when you start having money go back and forth across the table, yes, you need contracts. That's common sense.
Yeah.
But to do podcasting like what I'm doing right now, for me to give a non-disclosure, give me a break. Non-compete, really try to make that stick. I'd love to see it. Anyway, I'm just saying, people that have what I've noticed is the integrity is like cream. It really is, because it will actually. Everything else kind of goes away from it, but everything that's got a lot of integrity sticks together. May go to the bottom for a little while, but it's the best stuff out there, you know.
Yeah. And it always rises to the top.
Always. Well, you ought to see some of the cows around 3 Mile Island, but anyway.
Yeah. And then I'm off to New York.
Have you? And that's awesome, because I got to give you kudos, man, because I have been not only a fan of your work when we were on another network that shall remain unnamed, but I mean the stuff.
Are they even still around?
No, actually, no, they're not. I think the Resmans are still around.
I like the Resmans.
Yeah. Well,
I like
I'm going to say the Resmans are still around.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, though, you've always taken this to the next level, and I wanted to talk about that for a minute, because you've always tried to do the professional thing when that wasn't always the most popular thing to do around the quote unquote paranormal.
Well, yeah. I mean, I try to do. I was raised in a very traditional family with very strong morals, and trust and honor are really our two biggest things. So, I've always kept my word, or tried to as best as possible, and I've always, even though, what do they say? The what's that quote that I'm trying to use? Put it like this: a lot of times I do not take the path of least resistance.
Right.
So if if something's there and I have a great opportunity to do something with somebody, but I'll take a friendship or a good feeling that I've got over any kind of financial thing, or to me it's more based on a handshake versus anything else.
It's the Yeti. How are you doing? Been a really busy week. This is Yakking with the Yeti. I am the Yeti. As you can see, the Yeti fur has returned. I think I'm going to go all Duck Dynasty this time. Just really let it go. Of course, everybody knows that
and throughout the sort of Buffalo area, and then we also did a place there called I think it's in Pennsylvania. It's called the Andover Asylum. Yeah, so I'm getting ready to throw that together. Hopefully, well, everything will be. I'm hoping for the summer, but if it doesn't work for the summer, then I hope to have the movie out by the fall at the latest. But it's a lot of work. There's a lot of evidence still being reviewed and coming in, and still more stuff that we're throwing in the documentary. So, yeah. So I did the Hinsdale event, and so I'm working on that. We're working on a new project right now in cooperation with the Andover Asylum, which is basically it's an investigation that takes place in between Andover Asylum and the Hinsdale House in New York, that we're getting ready for. And then we also have in August we have Hinstock, which is like our paranormal Woodstock. That'll be taking place at the Hinsdale House as well. And and then in Canada, I just finished shooting a new TV series called The Other Side. And that'll be out. I think the first episode will air on television Halloween Day.
Nice. And,
Yeah.
and yet strangely appropriate.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that I know that the show's going to do really well, and I think October is Halloween is going to be a great night to have it. I should be filming season 2 right now, but there's a little bit of a hiccup, so we're not filming season 2 quite yet, but hopefully very soon.
Always wanted to do a show with myself, Scott Grunwald, and Johnny Hauser because we could do our own Ghost Dynasty. Be ghosty. But tonight, nobody came to hear me. Well, I do need to say this really quick. Everybody here at PEN, we sent out our heartfelt and our feelings to one of our newer hosts, D-Dove. She did lose her grandson earlier this week. Please go by her Facebook page. Wish her your condolences. It's a tragic situation. Everybody in Oklahoma, I feel sorry for Westboro Baptist Church when they show up at this one because these people just won't care. That's all I'm going to say about that. But tonight, on a much happier, brighter note, we are talking with a very dear friend. I'm the old one in the situation, but he's a very dear old friend of ours. Been around with us for since the beginning. But tonight we're joined by Bill Connelly, also known as Paranorbill. And Bill, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Man, if I was a puppy, I'd need 2 tails. How have you been? I know I've been busy. You've been real damn busy.
Yeah, I've been pretty busy. Not so much right now. It's kind of my off season, I guess. But I've been doing lots.
Is there anything you can tell us about what you're doing, or is
No.
it hush hush nod nod?
No, I can tell you. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Well, we are finally wrapping up. We filmed the movie last year called The Hinsdale Event, which takes place over 1 week in Hinsdale, New York. And